You know that, hey honey, will you rub my shoulder or neck muscle that's right up here? Well, it's called the Levator Scapula Muscle. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how to relax that muscle in seconds, but better yet, I'm gonna show you how to do the right things to keep it that way. All right, first and foremost, what the heck is the levator scapula muscle? Now, often this is associated with the upper trap here. Those two muscles really kind of go hand in hand, so we'll get the upper trap as well as a bonus. But that levator scapula muscle does actually what it's named. Levator meaning elevate, and scapula meaning shoulder blade. It elevates the shoulder blade. So at the top of your shoulder blade here, that's where it starts, and then it also ends up at the neck over here. So not only is it a shoulder muscle, but that muscle is anchored into your neck, so it can elevate your shoulders, but it also helps with rotation of the neck. So a lot of times, if you're having neck and shoulders pain, that levator scapula muscle is typically involved. In this sequence, to relax that levator scapula muscle and keep it that way, we're gonna go through the reach 3 R's. What are those? That's reset, regain, reinforce. So what does that mean? We wanna reset the tissue or the muscle. We're gonna go through that first. Second, we wanna regain any motion, especially if we have lost range of motion. We wanna do a movement to regain that. And then lastly, we wanna reinforce those changes with a really good exercise. So that way we've learned how to keep it relaxed. First is reset. We think that a lacrosse ball is a really useful tool, but if you don't have a lacrosse ball around, most people have chairs around, so we're gonna use that. So if you wanna see the lacrosse ball move, just click the link right here and I'll take you to that video. Now, to really stretch this levator scapula muscle and get it to relax, what we can do is sit at the edge of our chair and we're simply gonna grab the side of the chair here, right? And then I'm gonna scoot over to my opposite side just a bit. Now I wanna grab onto the chair just tightly enough, but not too tight, because if you're grabbing like this, you're not gonna relax that muscle, you're gonna squeeze all those shoulder muscles. So you wanna just lightly grab onto it, and there's a few pieces to this. First, we're gonna wanna tilt our body away. And what you'll notice right through here is that when I tilt my body away, you're gonna see that muscle pop out, especially if I turn here. That muscle right here, that's the levator scapula right there, right? So I'm gonna grab, tilt away, and then next I'm gonna tilt my head away and then turn my nose down to my armpit, like I'm gonna give a little sniff. And when I do that, you can see that muscle really pop out. So watch here again up close. When I tilt and turn away, you see that muscle pop out. And I should feel that in my shoulder and as well as through my neck right here. So what we can do is hold that position where you feel the tightness, but it's still comfortable. Breathe through it. You can hold for about 30 to 60 seconds, or if you prefer, you can kind of do a pressure on, pressure off, pressure on, pressure off, pressure on, pressure off, which can be a little more gentle. Again, perform that for about 30 to 60 seconds. And you can perform this up to 3 to 5 times a day. Number 2, now that we've reset that tight muscle, we're gonna regain normal range of motion. So what we're gonna do, because we know this is a neck and shoulder muscle, often this restricts your motion here. And very commonly, we have an issue with extension, flexion, and or rotation. But typically, we can restore those ranges of motions just by doing one exercise. So what we're gonna do is the chin tuck, look back. So what is that? Very simply, I'm gonna grow my spine long. I'm gonna tuck the chin like this, like I'm giving myself a temporary double chin, and relax. Once you have that motion and you're not shrugging your shoulders up, watch out for that. Tuck the chin in, and then next we're gonna look up toward the ceiling as far as we can go. If that feels okay, it should feel tight. If that feels okay, then we can breathe out and give a little wiggle from side to side like we're saying, That helps us sink into that end range there. If you're having trouble with hiking your shoulders up, just take your fingertips and think about reaching down toward the ground as you tuck your chin in. That'll help free up you being able to do this exercise. Now, if this is too pinchy here, that's actually a good sign. That means you need more of this, but we need to gently nudge it, not force it, more or less kiss the pain and slowly regain that motion. So the next step is what we can do to make this a little easier is we take our fingertips and we place them on either side of our shoulders like this. And you can see my fingertips here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push my fingertips here and then think about driving my elbows forward this way to compress that area. Now when I chin tuck against that, it can feel a little easier, and then I can slowly lift my head up and it can free it up and get you further before it starts to hurt. Good. Now, if that doesn't work, you can always explore going up a little higher with your fingertips in the neck or going a little bit lower. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding that right spot. Now, if you're still having a hard time with this, it's best just to stick with a chin tuck. Do some of this here where you chin tuck, give it a little push. Chin tuck, give it a little push. And over a period of a few days or so, we can retest this and see if we're getting further. Ultimately with the goal of getting back as far as you can go, because some people don't go all the way back. Some people only go here, but it should be a pain-free range of motion. Really at the end, it should just feel kind of like a stretch. Now you want to perform this exercise 10 times every 3 to 4 hours. That's about 50 times a day. And you want to do this for at least 2 weeks until you have restored that range of motion. You completed reset and regain. The last step is reinforce. So now we're going to reinforce these changes with proper activation or loading of our shoulder blades relative to our neck. So I'll show you what that means now. All right, I know we're in the gym now, but don't worry, really all we need is a wall for this. So what we're gonna do to help with awareness of not over-tensioning that levator scapula muscle, we're gonna learn how to set our shoulder blades. We can do this with a simple exercise. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a diamond in front of our head like this, and that's gonna go against the wall. Next, we're gonna drop the elbows a little bit wider, not narrow, not super wide, but somewhere in between like this. Now that we have this position, find what's comfortable for your feet. A lot of times just doing a split stance, one leg forward, one leg back, helps you keep a good low back position so you're not J-Lo booting and you're not doing some plumber butt rounding stuff like this. So let's do a split stance. We have diamond, elbows out. The next step is what we're gonna do is we're gonna feel for scapular elevation and depression. So basically it means shoulder blades up, shoulder blades down. I call it shrug up, shrug down. So we're gonna hold here, we're gonna shrug up toward our ears, and then shrug down. Shrug up and shrug down. Now this looks easy, but you may find some difficulty doing this. So once you have it though, and you can shrug up and shrug down, next you wanna think about keeping your shoulder blade or your scapula stuck down into your back pocket. So shrug up, shrug down, keep those shoulder blades down towards your back pockets. And once we have that set, we're gonna add some motion of the arms. So notice that there's not, my shoulders are not shrugged toward my ears. I have a nice space between my ears and my shoulders. I wanna keep that. And once I have that there, I'm gonna do a simple push-up motion like this. Like back against the wall, and then slowly return. I'm gonna push the wall away, straighten the elbows, and bring the elbows back. Right? This looks easy, but it's very, very easy to lose the position and shrug your shoulders and bring it back. So you really have to focus on keeping those shoulder blades down, push away, and come back. Now this can be a little more difficult than it looks, and it can get tiring of your arms. But if you need a little bit more engagement or you need it to be more difficult, you can simply come down the wall and move your legs back a bit. So now same thing, elbows wide, shoulder blades down toward my back pockets, and I'm gonna do the same push-up motion here and back. Make it a little harder. I'm gonna put both feet together like this, but making sure my butt's not stuck out. I'm gonna tuck my tailbone under just a little bit. I'm gonna do a press and come back. Press and come back without shrugging my shoulders up and back down. Typically we wanna perform this exercise for 3 sets, 10 reps of each set, a couple times a day. But really the most important thing is that you maintain good quality. So if you start doing some of those pushes and you're losing quality, meaning you can't hold those shoulder blades down, don't keep repping it out with bad form. Take a break and then do another set. Now that we've gone through the 3 steps of reset, regain, and reinforce, of relaxing the levator scapula muscle and then keeping it that way, you might be asking, how do I package this all together? I think to keep it really simple is you do 1, 2, and 3 in a row, and you perform that at least twice a day. Ideally, maybe 3, 4, even 5 times a day. But ultimately, it comes down to consistency to see long-term changes. I'd rather have you do this set once a day consistently for multiple weeks or months than just do a bunch of it in a couple days here and there and then not do it for a couple weeks, right? The consistency is really important to start to see the long-term changes. Lastly, if you like this video and it helped you, please subscribe, hit the bell for future content. Speaking of future content, leave a comment below. Let us know what other muscles you would like us to show you how to perform those 3 R's, that reset, regain, reinforce. There's plenty of muscles in the body and movements we can use this principle for, so let us know what you want to see and we'll make it.